Hello, my journey walkers, and welcome back to another Walk It Out Wednesdays with Coach T. That would be me. And this is where I try to give you guys some words to live by so that as we are walking out this journey called life, we get better at that walk. It is late. I am sleepy, but I want to be committed. So here it is, okay? I believe that you know the type of tree by the fruit it produces, right? So I can easily identify an orange tree once I actually see an orange growing on said tree. In comparison, I can know if you are committed once I see the behavior that you produce towards or in relation to any object, be it a person, place, thing, situation, whatever. I promise you, it is all in the words that you speak. It is all in how you react to situations. It's also how you operate in different spaces with different people. So tonight, I guess you figured out that we're talking about what? We're talking about commitment. Yes, we're talking about commitment. What does commitment truly look like? And how do people identify commitment in the way we show up every day? Okay? As I began this study on commitment, I found a cluster of words that actually, they stood out to me because they seem to relate to one another. So let's get on into these terms. We're going to begin with commitment. Commitment is defined as the state or quality of being dedicated to a cause or an activity or whatever it is, right? Interest is defined as the state of wanting to know or learn about something or someone. Result. A result is defined as a consequence, effect, or an outcome of something. A reason is defined as a cause, explanation, or justification for an action or event. Now listen real good. An excuse is defined as a reason or explanation put forth to defend or justify a fault or a offense. So let's jump right on in here and start with a comparison of reasons versus excuses, because I want to make sure that we all know the difference between a reason and an excuse. Okay? A reason must include, number one, probable cause. Now, we know this term from court, and it usually means reasonable grounds, which is typically required before a police officer can conduct a search of any kind, make an arrest of any kind, or even process any official charge of a crime against someone. In the context of this lesson, though, it asks this question: is there any relevant facts or factors that give reasonable grounds to one's verbal statement regarding a given incident, request, or situation? That would actually lead a listener anywhere near close to believing that the statement, down the thought process, that the statement is anywhere near true. In other words, does your statement bring relevance to your indifference? Example: have you ever asked someone to loan you some money on a Wednesday, since it's Walking Out Wednesdays, and then they say something like, man, I would give it to you, but the dog is barking real loud and banks is closed on Sunday, so I ain't gonna be able to do it. Now, if you like me, you're thinking, what does any of that have to do with me asking for a loan? The truth is, yes, the dog was barking loud, but it wasn't barking loud enough for you not to hear what I asked you. That's for sure. And everybody on the face of the planet that is an adult knows that the bank is closed on Sunday. So, but today is Monday. But today is Wednesday. Remember, today is Wednesday. It's not Sunday. So what difference does it make if the bank is closed on Sunday? Honestly, you could have just went on and told me no, right? Just went on and told me no. Instead, you responded with some non-factors to avoid telling me the truth. I call that questionable cause because you really haven't answered my question. You didn't answer it. And you can give me a real reason. You gave me an excuse. I'd rather you tell me I don't want to give it to you and I don't have no excuse why the answer is just no. Now, because you've given me the excuse, I have several questions about not only the response that you gave me, but you as a person. I'm side-eyeing you. So an excuse usually will never really pose a real reason why or why not. That's why it's an excuse and not a reason, okay? Number 2, a reason must provide valid justification. Anytime someone wants to give you a reason, it has to have some type of proven foundation. The statement has to make you actually draw a conclusion of some sort. It must have substance. Example, I don't like bread in the form of toast, biscuits, rolls, or buns. Why? Because I'm a texture person, and I don't like the consistency of those types of bread on my tongue, because to me, it feels like it is expanding in my mouth, much like the cotton that the dentist shoves in your mouth after they pull a tooth. Okay? Now, have you ever talked to someone and they tell you, well, I don't like bread. But then when you ask them why, they say something like, well, I just don't. Or, I don't know. Additionally, if you turn around and ask the same person, have they ever tried bread? They might actually tell you no. In which case, how would they really, really know if they don't really like it, if they never tasted it, right? I call that immaterial justification. Because what they did was they just made this blanket statement about their dislike for bread without actually really giving you any substance or real reason as to why they don't like it. Here's what I'm going to tell you. If there is no substance to a statement that someone is making to you, then let me be real clear with you. It's an excuse. It's not a reason. A reason is good. Excuses are bad. Okay? Last but not least, a reason must include a sensible explanation. The reason that someone would take the time to formulate words into a statement has to be rooted in some type of level of logic of some sort, in some way, shape, form, or fashion. Have you ever, have you ever had someone tell you like 5 lies in a row and neither one of them made any sense? So at this point, you know good and full well they're lying. It can't be nothing else but a lie, because the show can't be the truth, because it don't make no sense, right? You know at this point, it's definitely excuse, because why? They are pulling it out of thin air. No such place, no such thing. I call that an illogical explanation, simply because it don't make no sense. Sometimes excuses can defy all logic. So if somebody is giving you an excuse and it don't make no sense, saying something don't make no sense, it's probably an excuse. It's not a reason. So now we're gonna shift this into the comparison between commitment and interest, because there is a difference between being interested in someone or something or whatever and then being committed. Those are 2 different things. Typically, when you are interested in someone or something or whatever it is, you're interested until your curiosity has been satisfied. You can be interested in several things, but that doesn't mean you're going to have good execution, because it won't be a priority to you. In fact, you'll probably start a multitude of things. and never really finish anything. People who are just interested in things will always find ways to justify their lack of accountability and responsibility to whatever the situation is. That's where those wonderful excuses come in. And I find that when you are just simply interested in the thing, you will conveniently be responsible for it. Meaning, you're only going to be responsible for it if it doesn't require any extra effort on your part. So the moment you have to do anything extra or start stretching you, you are done being committed, and you are done being responsible. If you are only interested in a thing, you will be selectively accountable. Meaning, you're only going to be accountable if 9 times out of 10, if it benefits you. That's when you're going to do it. Last but not least, if you are just interested, then you will have limited action orientation. What do I mean by that, Coach T? Coach T, what do you mean? I mean, you're only going to take action when you feel like it, or again, if it benefits you. Now, in comparison to a person that is committed, you're now dealing with a person that is overflowing with passion. Have you ever met the person that is so passionate about what they do, who they are, and why they do it? So much so that once you get them talking, you can't get them to shut up. And you can tell that they live, breathe, eat, drink, sleep, wake, talk, walk, drive that thing on a daily basis. That's because they're committed. Most people that are committed to something are promise keepers. They don't tend to make promises they don't tend to keep. They are usually people that keep their word. They do what they say they're going to do because they're integral and they want people to be able to depend on their word. They don't make excuses because they're not looking for a way out. They're looking for a way through, because their focus is on meeting the objective. They are responsible, and they view responsibility differently because to them it is a rite of passage. Being entrusted is a privilege because it means others believe in their ability to get things done, and that is an accomplishment in and of itself for them. Okay? They are also very, very accountable. They not only own their assignments, but they actually own their mistakes. Even if they own the mistakes, even if they weren't the ones to make it, because why? They believe that they are responsible for the success of the assignment. They are definitely very action oriented, always getting things done, constantly setting new goals to meet. And they typically never take a lot of downtime after a victory. Instead, most of the time, it's on to the next thing, on the next task on the list. Okay, I know I just gave you a lot of information. It sounded like a lot of information to me, and I'm saying it. So definitely go back and listen again so you can catch it all. But the conclusion that I've drawn is this. There is absolutely nothing wrong with just being interested, so long as others around you are not believing you're committed, right? Commitment produces results. Results produce accomplishments. So if you're wanting to have uncharted success in anything, you're going to have to, if you are a person who has a lot of interest, you're going to have to elevate that interest into commitment. Otherwise, interest will just produce a jack or a Jane of trades, but a master of none. So I'm challenging you to list all the things you got going on in your life, because we all always have, I got a lot going on. We all got a lot going on, right? So I want you to make this list, and then I want you to ask yourself a very crucial, important question. Am I committed to this thing, or am I just interested in this thing? And then mark them C or I, respectively. Now, for all of those things that you identified that you're just interested in, I want you to think about all the people that you are that you affect with just your interests. And the next time they ask anything of you, please, please, please do them a favor and be honest and just tell them, I'm interested, but I'm not committed. So I don't want you to automatically count on me because I don't want to disappoint or inconvenience you. That is the considerate, integral thing to do. Okay? If you realize that there are things you need to shift from the interested category to the committed category, then I want you to take some time and really examine why it hadn't been a priority before. And then I want you to try to identify the barriers that may have prevented you from committing. Once you do that, then you'll be able to work to eliminate those barriers systematically and effectively, giving yourself both the realistic timing that you need in order to get things done and, some grace for your improvement journey, because it take a minute. It ain't going to be overnight, right? Oh, and for everything that's on your committed category, I want you to write down 3 to 5 top reasons you're committed to each one of them. Then for each one of those reasons that you write down, I want you to write down one main top reason you should stay committed to that thing. So that is my spiel on commitment tonight. This has been Walk It Out Wednesdays with Coach T. Keep your commitments and be honest about your interests. I am the Coach T, and as always, just be you, and I will see you next week.